Welcome to the Serious Sarcasm Podcast. My name is Jay Derosier. Everything you hear is purely my opinion and absolutely not gospel truth. If you do find yourself getting a little bit too worked up over what I say, feel free to take your opinion and, well, you know where. Now that we got that straightened out, sit back, relax, and you might want to get yourself some popcorn because it's going to be a long one. Enjoy the show, y'all. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Serious Sarcasm Pod. My name is Jay Derosier. Welcome back to my regular listeners. Welcome back to the first-time listeners. And if you don't plan on listening after this, well, it is what it is. You'll be all right. Anyways, I do want to say to everybody who's been listening to the first couple of episodes, we do appreciate it. To everybody who's been reposting clips, reacting to some of my clips, I do appreciate you guys a lot. But let's get the show on the road. This is episode, 3? And we're going to start it out with a bang. We're going to talk about the Olympics. All right, so with the Olympics, I got some good things to talk about and some bad things to talk about. First thing I'm going to talk about is none other than, I guess you can still call him the fastest man in the world, Mr. Noah Lyles. I want to give Noah Lyles a shout out for two things. Number one, he put his money where his mouth is. All that talk that pretty much all of, I guess, quote unquote, NBA Twitter had against him, he backed it up, won the 100-meter dash. I do have to kick it back in a little bit, just a little bit. But not all the way, my guy. So basically, if you guys didn't know, Noah Lyles ended up placing third, aka the bronze medal, in the 200-meter dash. It seemed like a pretty good race. For the life of me, the gentleman what country he's from, who won the gold medal, leaves my brain, but I know his name is Tobago. So shouts out to him for winning that gold medal in the 200-meter. But Noah Lyles was carried off the track in a wheelchair. Come to find out, Noah Lyles ran the race with COVID. He tested positive for COVID 2 days before the race, which would have been Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever it was. And he still ran the race. And after the race, he hugged all his competitors and hugged a couple of other people.
What?
I do want to say to Noah Lyles, bro, I wish you would have found another way to go about after the race. But I understand emotions are high and all that stuff. But I do wish you a speedy recovery, because when I found out also you had severe asthma and you're a superstar athlete, I think that's amazing. But my guy, you got to be smarter when it comes to COVID. You putting everybody else at risk. You got to be smarter, my guy. I know we're not in the middle of a pandemic anymore, but you gotta be smarter than that. But besides that, man, shouts out to him. Shouts out to the other men and women on that track team and that entire USA team. I do want to give a huge shout out to Sydney McLaughlin. I forgot her other last name, her husband's last name, for the life of me. But I do want to give a shout out to her because I did just see that she broke her own record in the 400-meter hurdle. So shout outs to her as well, man. Next person I want to talk about is Miss Simone Biles. The greatest gymnastic athlete of all time. The reason why I got a picture of her and her husband, Jonathan Owens, on the screen, because I want to tell you guys a little story. So imagine you win your gold medal. You're surprised that you won, but you're so excited. You're celebrating with your mom, your dad, your husband, your family, his family. And you put the gold medal on your dad, your mom, your husband, and you take a picture with your husband. And then all of a sudden you hear some girl on TikTok, her name is Kira. I can't remember Shorty's last name, but Kira, I know it starts with a B. So Kira B goes on TikTok and goes on a rant about Jonathan Owens and why he doesn't deserve to be wearing her medal and all that stuff. And rightfully so, Simone Biles defends her husband in that same girl's comments. Not no slick talk, no subtweeting, none of that. She went right for the jugular with this girl. What I want to say to a lot of people who reacted to some of the stuff on TikTok or just react to, I guess, celebrities' lives on TikTok, I hope you do know, bro, they don't care about your opinion. Number two, this is coming from somebody who gives their opinion for a living. Like, they don't care about your opinion, bro. And I know they don't care about my opinion, but I still give my opinion regardless. So you have to leave yourself, room for that fall. You feeling all high when you call somebody out, you're going to have a big-ass fall when they come right back at you. For example, if I called out Beyonce or Taylor Swift, I got to be able to take it when Beyonce or Taylor Swift slides in my comments and calls me out of my name or whatever the case may be. Just as much as disrespectful I was to them, I should be expected to get it back. So I want to give Simone Biles a shout out for that, man. But besides the whole relationship thing, Simone Biles, congratulations once again. You are the greatest gymnastic Olympian of all time, hands down. Maybe the greatest Olympian of all time between like you and Michael Phelps, basically at this point, and like Katie Ledecky. Next thing with the Olympics I want to talk about is the men's USA basketball team. The other day, if you guys remember, they just played Serbia, and they were down by as much as I think was 17 at one point. Thank you to Steph Curry. Thank you to LeBron. Thank you to Kevin Durant, the three-headed, blue eyes, white dragon card from Yu-Gi-Oh! That we have with these three dudes. It just sucks that this is probably the last time we're ever going to see these three play together, unless it's like an NBA All-Star game. It just scares me, the fact that I don't know if men's USA basketball, because if you watch the entire Olympics, not just the men's games, the men's USA games, if you watch Serbia, you watch Brazil, you watch France, you watch Germany, Canada to a certain extent, these teams are loaded around the world. We're falling behind in our own country when it comes to playing some of these teams. Besides maybe Joel Embiid, most of the top 5 players in the NBA didn't play in a USA basketball system. What I mean by that, I mean AAU, college basketball. You know, a lot of them didn't play. Giannis, Luka, Jokic. And I'm telling you, yo, the next Olympics, we're probably going to win gold this time around because we got by Serbia by the skin of our teeth. We're probably going to win this time around because we play France next. I think by the time this episode plays, they'll be in the middle of the game pretty much playing France. But I'm telling you right now, the next Olympics, do not be surprised if USA doesn't even medal. It sounds crazy, but I will not be surprised. Unless Bronny ends up being LeBron Part 2, there's no way I think USA is going to win gold next time around in the Olympics. Now, we can revisit this podcast episode in 4 years, and I can give you I told you so, or I can just, take my humble opinion and shove it up my you-know-what, just like the intro says. Last but not least, man, the last thing I want to talk about with the Olympics is Imani Khalif, I think how you pronounce this young lady's name. She just won the gold medal in boxing. The reason why I'm happy she won the gold medal is because a lot of you, how do I explain it? A lot of you bigots who called her a man, a lot of you bigots that don't understand genetics, a lot of you bigots that don't understand, basic chromosome breakdowns, called her a man. A lot of you people who jumped out the window off rip, i.e. people who have huge voices, i.e. A lot of people on the right wing, Fox News and all that other stuff. I really want to get into all that. But also people like, what's the gentleman's name with his brother as a boxer as well? Logan Paul. Mm-hmm. A lot of y'all jumped out of the window calling this young woman a man, and you ended up being wrong. And a lot of you had to delete tweets, but not one of you guys had an apology. And now that she won the gold, I'm the happiest person for her because she deserves it. Also, to that Italian boxer that she beat the snot out of, come to find out, when Iman, I think it's Iman, when her record came out and she was 9-6 against, her competition pretty much, like her lifetime record is 9-6. So you tell me there's 6 other female boxers that beat her. So the young lady who was the Italian that basically made it, started the fire that set the whole world ablaze with calling her a man, I want to say to you specifically, you're just trash. You're trash. Basura, like trash. Like you don't deserve anything that comes to you unless it's more L's. You deserve it. You mad because she hit too hard. That's cool, but just because she hit too hard, I mean you're gonna call her a man. Like, you trash. Real talk. But anyways, that's all I gotta say about the Olympics, man.
You enjoying it though?
Yeah, I enjoyed the Olympics. I will say this though. Last thing I want to say about the Olympics, actually. I do want to shit on a lot of you Australians that were talking spicy about the United States, because y'all were talking about, we got more gold medals than the United States. 4 days later, we doubled your total. You talked about you guys had just as much medals as we did total. 4 days later, we doubled your total. And then now that we are beating you guys in every category when it comes to gold, silver, and bronze, you guys want to flip it to, we have more gold medals per capita because of our population. Last time I checked, the Olympics doesn't even matter what country you're from. It matters if you qualify as an athlete. That's what last time I checked. So to all you Australians that's still trying to die on that hill, kiss my black American ass. Anyways, next topic. I want to talk about something that's more lighthearted and something that actually had me really excited this week. Shouts out to the boy from Canada, Drizzy Drake Graham, man. The reason I want to shout out Drake, a lot of people think it's a PR stunt, and I understand why people think this is a PR stunt, but Drake dropped over 100 gigs of music. I think it was on Monday or Tuesday to his fans. I do want to give Drake a shout out for that because there's a couple of songs and some unmastered and unfinished projects that he dropped, and it was dope to see somebody as an artist to his caliber who's willing to release music like that, even if it's just to save face because maybe he lost to Kendrick. I mean, he did lose to Kendrick, but maybe it's that's to save face. It is what it is. We can have a discussion about that anytime you want. I still think Kendrick won. That doesn't stop me from listening to Drake. However, just like when Kendrick dropped the unreleased, unmastered album, that was a bunch of stems from albums past and music that he didn't finish. I want to give Drake the same type of grace and the same type of shout out. I know
100 gigs though?
100 gigs, bro. It was 100 gigs of music. I know. I thought it was a lot too when I saw it pop up on my timeline, and I had a couple of people who I have a couple of friends who work in the music industry. I'm not gonna shout them out. They want to remain anonymous when I'm on this podcast. But one of them shot me a text and was like, "Yo, Drake just dropped 100 gigs of music." And I was like, yo, you lying. Sent me the link of the Instagram account Drake dropped it on. Ended up listening to a good, like, I think I want to say 30 songs. Some of them was like cuts from the Her Loss album with him and 21 Savage. Some of them sound pretty dope. A lot of people speculating that 21 Savage throw a shot at Kendrick. That's neither here. I could care less about that. Kendrick is still the boogeyman. But to Drake, man, yo, thank you for dropping that music. I do want to say, though, my guy, some of your cover art that you didn't use, especially the one for Certified Lover Boy, it's a little
sus.
It's not sus. It's more so like it's kind of feeding into what with a couple of things that Kendrick said about him. I don't want to get into it, but it's just weird to me. It's weird. But besides that, I just listen to the music. I don't really judge rappers for their personal lives unless you do something that's outlandish like a Diddy or R. Kelly, allegedly. But I'm not gonna really talk about his personal life like that. But I will say, man, Drake, shout outs to that. You got a couple of slappers on that. I hope you would kind of master some of them and put them on DSPs so I can ride around, put some of them to my workout playlist. But Drizzy, shout outs to you, my guy. Next thing I want to talk about is probably the biggest news of the week, besides the Olympics taking over and Drake and pop culture, and that's gonna be Miss Kamala Harris picked her vice president running mate, and that's Mr. Tim Walz from Minnesota. To give you a little rundown about Tim Walz to people who don't know who Tim Walz is, Tim Walz is the 41st governor of Minnesota. Tim Walz is a retired veteran. He's also a former school teacher, a former football coach as well. Tim Walz also, if you guys remember a couple years ago, was one of the first states that signed into legislation to give all public school kids free lunch. Free breakfast and lunch, in public schools for all kids, all ages, in the state of Minnesota. So I do want to give him a shout out for that. I want to do a little side note, though, to Tim Walz, but it's not really to him, it's to a lot of supporters. It's crazy to me, I'm born in 1993, but it's crazy to me that something that he signed into legislation was deemed a communistic threat and also a threat to our society when the Black Panthers did it in the 60s and 70s. Just saying. Just saying. But anyways, to Tim Walz, man, for what I've read up about him and his history, I think this is the perfect runaway for him. To the far right wing that really wanted Governor Shapiro from Pennsylvania to run with Kamala, y'all didn't want him. Let's be real. Y'all didn't want him. And now y'all using Kamala Harris saying that, she's anti-Semitic because the whole Democratic Party is anti-Semitic because she didn't pick Shapiro to be her running mate. I want to say to you guys specifically, last time I checked, every Jewish congressman and every Jewish senator are all Democrat. There's two, I think, congressmen who are Jewish, or congressmen, congresswomen, who are Jewish that are independent. Not one of them are Republican. So let's not spew this anti-Semitic rant because Shapiro wasn't picked. Let's not spew stupidity to get your fan base riled up or your core supporters riled up, because you're gonna fall flat on your face like you guys have been doing the past 2 weeks since 3 weeks I should say now, since Kamala was announced as the main Democratic running for president. The last thing I do want to say on this topic, though, to Kamala and to Tim Walz, I don't really like to get into politics really on this podcast, even though I technically have twice in the first couple of episodes. But to you two specifically, you guys have done a lot of great things in your states, a lot of great things helping run the country. What I do want to say to y'all, man, if you're able to run the country, just you guys, you two, I want to say to you guys, good luck. I want to say to you guys, as a father of a young 5-year-old child, the uncle of multiple nieces and nephews, and especially my nieces, specifically for them, I want to say specifically for women of color as well, I have a lot of faith in you guys. The reason I have a lot of faith in you guys is for the simple fact of your track record, whether it be putting tampons in school for kids, expanding sex ed so kids are more aware about what's going on with their bodies at an adolescent puberty stages. I want to say to you guys specifically, man, please, if you win this race, don't forget those people who helped you out. And I mean that in black women, because black women are going to be the ones to get you guys elected, just being real. But besides that, last but not least, actually the second to last but not least, I do want to give a shout out to hip hop. The reason I want to give a shout out to hip hop before I get into my next topic is shout out to Snoop Dogg for basically being the mascot for the Olympics, but also in the same week of Snoop Dogg pretty much being all over the face of the Olympics and NBC reporting and NBC coverage of the Olympics. Back in this state of Florida that I live in, a hip hop artist by the name of Mr. Pitbull, Mr. 305, has just bought the naming rights to FIU, or Florida International University's football stadium. So now it's going to be called Pitbull Stadium. So shouts out to him. I want to give him a shout out because, bro, like, whoever thought hip hop would make it this far? Snoop Dogg doing this, Pitbull doing that. Of course, we could shout out, the likes of Jay-Z, Dr. Dre with Apple. We could shout out all these people. And it's just dope to see a culture that I grew up in when I grew up listening to 50, Hove, Fabulous, Snoop, I guess Nelly, because Nelly had platinum records as well. Eminem, in my adolescent years, Kanye, Drake. It's just dope to see a lot of these artists expanding themselves out of just the bubble of just being a rapper. And they're doing great things in society, doing great things in music, doing great things for the communities. Shouts out to Pitbull, though, because with the naming rights, could you imagine going to an FIU game, even though nobody goes to FIU games, going to an FIU game and it says Pitbull Stadium and he's from 305? I think I should call him, I think his nickname should be like Mr. FIU at this point, I guess, right? It should be Mr. FIU instead of Mr. 305, I guess. But shouts out to him, man. It's dope to see him doing that, yo. Whoever thought hip-hop would make it this far, yo. Straight up. Whoever thought hip-hop would make it this far. Last but not least with Pitbull, before I go into our favorite segment of every episode, yo, it's crazy to me that Pitbull went from, the dirty South rapping to the Spanglish on rapping to just being a hit maker, I guess being a watered down hit maker as a rapper, but he still never lost himself in that music. He's never lost himself. He's still the same dude. A lot of people who talk about him, who are close to him, he's still the same guy. So shouts out to Pitbull, man. Real talk. Last but not least, it's our favorite segment of every episode. It's none other than Bro, What You On?
Like, bro, what you on?
Ladies and gentlemen, for this week's Bro, What You On, I want to kick in the back of none other than Mr. Aiden Ross. The reason I want to kick in Aiden Ross's back, I could care less if he's a Trump supporter. That does not bother me at all, because there's a lot of people who do the streaming, who do podcasting, who work in this content creating space, who do support opposite political views as me. And I'm not going to shit on you for that. It's not me. I'm not going to kick you back in for that specifically, even though I should probably kick you back in for it, because there's a couple of things you've done on the low that kind of, we'll get into that at a later date. But to Aiden Ross, the reason why I want to kick his back in is not because he hosted Trump on his stream. It is not because he's a Trump supporter. It is not because all the love and support he's shown Trump. It's none of that. It's none of that. The reason I want to kick his back in, at the end of his stream, he went outside with Trump and he gifted Trump a Tesla and a Rolex live on his stream. Also, I want to say to people, when you live stream things, whether you delete it off your page, just like they always say, if you put something on the internet, it's there forever. Aiden Ross, I want to tell you, is there forever, especially somebody of your caliber when it comes to all your viewership. Aiden Ross gave Trump a Tesla and a Rolex, and now supposedly Trump is under investigation because now accepting those gifts of the Tesla Cybertruck and the Rolex might have been a campaign funds violation. Now, we all know with Trump, he's gonna do a violation of some kind, and he's gonna get around it. So that's not the big deal about this. Reason I'm bringing this up. The reason I'm bringing it up is if I support somebody, me personally, if I support somebody, and I'm going to give somebody a gift of that magnitude, I'm gonna do my research on making sure, like, yo, if I give a person that gift of that magnitude, it's not gonna affect what they're doing. For example, if I was of age at the time and I was voting for Obama and I wanted to support Obama, if I'm going to give Obama a Rolex and be like, yo, I can't wait for you to be my next president, and I'm giving him a Rolex, I'm going to do my research to make sure, like, hey, if I give him his Rolex, it's not going to be a campaign violation. It's not going to bring any bad press to him, right? Because I want him to be squeaky clean. Granted, in Trump's case, we don't care if Trump is squeaky clean. For me, Trump is entertainment. He ain't shit, but he entertainment to me. Like, I saw a speech of his the other day when he was talking about there was nobody died at the campaign riots. I mean the Capitol riots on January 6th. Even though we all remember the female Trump supporter who got shot by Capitol Police and died on the scene, bro. Like, what is he talking about? That's what I'm saying. He's pure entertainment. I don't take him seriously.
Fake news.
But fake news. You know, you got to do the nacho chip dip fingers. The fake news. It's fake news. But to Aiden Ross, bro, you got to do better, bro. I mean, granted, it's not gonna come back and bite you necessarily. It's probably gonna bite Trump in the ass. But it's not gonna affect you, my guy. But bro, you got to be better. You got to do better. I guess stupid is as stupid does. Aiden Ross, though, man, yo, I do want to shout you out, man. You're doing a dope thing when it comes to how big of a platform you've grown for yourself. However, bro, you got to move differently. You got to move better, bro. You got to move better. And last but not least, what I want to say to him is, bro, what you on?
I'm like, bro, what you on?
All right, y'all. My name is Jay Derosier. It's been a great time with this episode, man. Before I sign off, I do want to give one more shout out to those who have listened to the podcast, those who plan on listening to the podcast. We're growing pretty quickly. I'm kind of surprised by the growth that we've gotten the past 2 episodes. I'm going to be churning out episodes and content on a weekly basis. I'm going to be churning out all these clips, and I do want to say thank you to you guys. I was outside earlier this week in the city having fun, you know, showing my face to the people. And I want to say thank you to so many people out there in the streets who saw me, shouted me out, said thank you for doing what I'm doing on the podcast, people who showing me great positive recognition. I do thank you guys for that. Trust me, it's that more than, I guess, you know, making money later on with this pod and, you know, advertising is probably going to be the thing that fulfills me the most, is that you guys are actually enjoying the content I produce, everything that comes in this crazy brain of mine. Yeah, those who know me personally knows how crazy my brain is sometimes. So I do want to say thank you to you guys. I'll see you guys next week. I'm going to sign off. My name is Jay Derosier. This has been the Serious Sarcasm Podcast. Be safe.